Hey guys, my name is Dylan with the anime summary. The next day, at the capital of the Shield Spada country, an attack is happening where the civilians are running away in panic. With Team Highcard surrounding the area, knowing that the attack was a part of the Klondike family's plan. While the prince evacuates the scene in a getaway Lambo, the mysterious lady, a part of the Klondike family, appears beside him. She takes out everyone in the car in swift fashion. Meanwhile, Chris reports to Leo saying that he thinks he has found some of the people behind the attack, with Alex, a player, a part of the Klondike family, using rock magic to attack Chris. Then while Chris is distracted, they flee the scene. While everything is going on, Finn is sitting in an apartment by himself, unmotivated and sad that Lindsay told him to never see him again. After the attack, the police arrive and are on high alert from what just happened. Sugar and Greg arrive at the scene. Sugar informs Greg that the civilians have reported they were sudden blasts out of nowhere, along with iron and stone walls attacking them randomly. When Greg tells her not to worry, Sugar gets upset with Greg, stating that they are the police and it's their job to uphold the law. Greg puts a hand on her shoulder and sympathizes with her, telling her that it's sometimes best to not know certain things. Back at the Highcard HQ, Bernard thanks everyone for attending, informing the group that Theodore called an order to retrieve any or all cards with the known whereabouts immediately. Bernard states that the city is in a full state of emergency. He hands VJ and Wendy information on where to get their cards and leave together. After Leo leaves, Bernard tells Chris that he and Finn will go together to Polo Stick. Chris leaves, telling Bernard that he isn't his babysitter but only his mentor. Chris makes his way to Finn's old home that was torn up and recalls what Bernard said about Finn having second thoughts and starts making his way to Finn's new place. Chris makes his way to Finn's room and knocks on his door, telling him that they have a job to do. Chris questions Finn if his past experiences are really that big of a deal. Finn replies, stating that he would never understand what he's going through, with Chris agreeing. Chris takes a seat on the ground and tells Finn that family doesn't have to be blood related. Chris tells Finn the honest truth, to be positive and not to think about life in a negative way. Then after giving Finn a pep talk, he leaves, telling Finn that he can handle the job himself. Later that night at a club, Jasper and Alex are sitting down next to a group of women drinking. Disappointed at the fact that the plan in the morning didn't work and got 0 of the credit, the girls suggest ordering something, showing Jasper the menu. Jasper notices from the girl next to him that there is a card behind her and grabs it. He looks at the card and gets excited at the fact it's a hint to where Chris is going to be at. At the train station, Chris gets food from a stand and makes his way to the train. Just when Chris takes aboard the train, Finn appears and tells Chris that he's ready for the job. On the train in their room, Finn looks at their target for retrieving the card, being Aya, a 48-year-old that possesses the card with the power called Coming Home. Chris also tells him that she is the target for the mission. After the train ride, while Finn is sleeping, Chris wakes him up and they make their way out of the train, when all of a sudden Jasper appears in front of them using his metallic card's power. Jasper orders them to stay on the train and they head back onto the train and into their room. Jasper brags to them about having been tipped off by someone, assuming that it was a fan and being a part of the Klondike family. He gets frustrated with Chris's comments and demands that he and Finn hand over their cards, or else the civilians on the train will be injured badly. Chris questions Jasper, knowing if they destroy the train completely that he will go down as well. Jasper has had enough and uses his metallic magic to take out all of the train compartments surrounding them. Jasper sends a scythe aiming for Finn, but Chris swoops in and knocks him off the train onto safety. Jasper almost falls to the ground, but in a panic he uses his metallic magic to stop the train completely. After, Jasper uses his chains from the top of the train tracks to hook Chris so he wouldn't get away. Meanwhile, Finn is passed out in the water, with a dog and an old lady noticing him. The following day in the morning, Finn wakes up being licked by the mysterious owner's dog named Roddy. Finn recalls the notebook of their target, realizing that the woman is Aya, who has the card they need. Aya notices Finn being worried, showing his card from his jacket. Aya assumes that Finn works for Theodore by the way he is acting, revealing to Finn that she was once a part of Highcard. Back in the city at the Team Highcard HQ, Bernard shows them a picture of the train that Chris and Finn were on to the group, assuming that they encountered another player. Wendy and VJ both suggest they go to Polo Stick to help them, but Bernard tells them that Theodore has ordered them to stand by. Leo tells them no matter what, orders must be followed. While Finn is resting in bed, Aya tells him a story about when she was in Highcard 25 years ago, where she gets dragged into fights and was in love with their work as a Highcard member. but then got upset one night when a colleague was taken down. Theodore behind her telling her to chase the other player who escaped, being cold-hearted. Following 10 years later having questions about how Theodore did business and being suspicious about Pinnacle. Then a tragedy struck when Chris was a kid in the hospital. His father Tyler is standing over his bed knowing that if he plays his X hand he can save Chris. Theodore behind them ordering Tyler to not play his X hands. Tyler pleads with Theodore to let him use his X hands to save his son. Aya leaves the room having made her choice when she heard Theodore say it's Chris's fate. Theodore aims to take out Chris when out of the blue Aya uses her gravity magic from outside the room to pin Theodore. Using the chance and time they have, Tyler hurries using the X hand to save Chris. But then Tyler gets taken down for using 4 cards at once. After the tragic event, Aya lost sight of who she was as a person, eventually leaving High Card and wandering the world without telling anyone. Lastly, finding a new home and dog, Roddy, to start a new adventure away from society. With the story ending, Aya wants to know from Finn what he would have done if he was in her shoes. Finn thinks about it and tells her that he joined High Card to save Sunfield's the orphanage and that it's his job to collect cards. Then stating that regardless of what happens, he will work hard to succeed. Aya laughs like crazy and hands Finn her card. Finn accepts the card, then the ground starts shaking randomly. They both head outside to see Alex in front of them. Alex uses his earth magic to launch Finn, hurting him. Finn tosses Aya her card and she plays it. She uses coming home to save Finn from Alex's incoming attack. Alex uses his rock magic to trap Finn in a bunch of rocks while launching Aya into the ground. Just when he's about to finish the both of them off, Chris appears, knocking him into the hole, unable to move. After, Finn is confused as to why Chris isn't using his card to heal. Chris retrieves the card from Alex, but when Finn goes over to celebrate, he points a gun towards Finn. Then he shoots Finn, sending him back to the ground and walking away from the scene. Chris, in the night, is driving alone, eating a snack. When passing by, he gets a glimpse of his old life as a kid, but realizes that it's only an illusion. Driving further on his journey. The next day, when it's foggy back at the High Card HQ, Finn wakes up confused as to why he survived the attack from Chris. Leo storms into the room, grabbing Finn, and demands to know from him where Chris went. He tells Finn that Chris took the cards and vanished away from plain sight. Bernard hands Finn his jacket and tells Finn that X playing cards cannot be destroyed by anyone, realizing that Chris purposely aimed at his pocket to protect them. Leo informs Finn that VJ and Wendy are on a mission at the Fourland Palace to protect the king and princes from harm. Along with Finn's relationship being close to Chris, that Pinnacle will be keeping his card for the time being. In the parking lot of the town, Chelsea appears getting out of the car. Chris greets her waiting and Chelsea hands him a bag that he was asking for. Demands to know what is going on with them, recalling her encounter with the police the previous night. When Chris takes off his shirt, Chelsea notices all of the marks on his body. She gets annoyed and plays her card, charging Chris, but he deflects the attack and they share a moment together. Just as Chris is walking away collecting his goods, the cops show up and surround him. Then when all hope is lost, the mysterious lady that is a part of the Klondike family shows up to take down all of the cops. She tells Chris to flee the scene and does so. After having a conversation with Lindsay at the HQ making up, Finn heads to the hospital to hopefully find Chris. He sprints inside to the room of Michelle. Inside, he notices that Michelle is gone, assuming that Chris was already there. He sees a note that says call me and calls the number. Chris picks up the phone and should have known that Finn would be there first to the scene. He tells Finn that his goal is to save Michelle using the X hands just like his father did to save him. Finn gets upset and yells at Chris, saying that he is wrong, then explains that family isn't just someone who you're related to by blood. He tells Chris that he's finally found a place where he belongs and that Chris isn't just a colleague. Then states they need to go back together to Pinnacle where the rest of the High Card members are at. Chris ignores the words from Finn and knows that it will be only his time to be able to save Michelle and drives away. Then while he's driving away, a mysterious man, a part of Pinnacle, attacks Chris. Chris gets back up using his high calories card to get away from the hospital. The man is upset about what transpired and tells Finn that he's fired from Pinnacle. Sugar and Chelsea arrive at the hospital to see Finn being escorted by 2 huge bodyguards, a part of Pinnacle. Sugar gets out of the car, approaching the bodyguards and telling them that she needs to interrogate Finn. She starts yelling at them to get to the bottom of the problem and lets go of Finn into Sugar's arms. While everyone is distracted, Finn unlocks his handcuffs, takes Sugar's keys, and drives away in her car with Chelsea inside. Then the bodyguards being distracted, Sugar employs the same tactic that Finn did, taking their car and fleeing the scene. Finn is driving with Chelsea on their way to stop Chris from playing the X-Hand. While driving on the road, the mysterious lady from the Klondike family appears, using her powers to launch their car into the wall, exploding. Finn gets out of the explosion injured, recalling the woman from a previous night. The woman aims her magic towards Finn, but Chelsea steps in, using her magic to grab Finn to safety. The woman grazes Chelsea as they are in the air, and they make it away from her for the time being. On foot, Finn is running on the street from the mysterious woman alone to make sure Chelsea is okay. She catches up to Finn, pinning him to the ground, about to attack him with the car. Wendy appears in her alter ego to save Finn. While they engage in a hand-to-hand combat, Bernard appears, telling him to hop in to go save Chris. Sugar arrives at the scene, shocked about what she is witnessing. Sugar orders the lady and Wendy to stop destroying the city, but they both ignore her and continue the fight. Greg appears beside Sugar, telling her that they don't carry them for just looks, shooting towards the lady. The lady blocking Greg's attack, but from behind, Wendy slashes her. Greg shoots another rock to knock out Wendy, and the mysterious lady flees the scene injured. Bernard comes to the conclusion that Chris is trying to use the X-Hand. Leo and VJ arrive in a truck, asking Finn to relay the situation about Chris. Finn relays to Leo that Chris is at a park and begs him to take him to Chris. Leo uses his never no dollars to create a separate road into the sky to get to Chris faster. Meanwhile, Chris is struggling to stay afloat, trying to heal Michelle. Leo exhausted all of his powers and is embarrassed by the fact. Bernard hands Finn his card and he knows what he has to do to help. Finn jumps out of the car into the air, firing one bullet. The bullet stops the X-Hand from Chris, causing a massive red circle. Chris passes out and is glad that he was able to help Michelle. Finn is excited about being able to pull something off like that, being held up by VJ. The next day at the hospital, Chris wakes up to Finn sitting beside his bed, demanding from Finn to know the whereabouts of Michelle. The curtain pulls away, revealing Michelle. Chris is crying in tears, glad that she is safe. VJ compliments Finn on lowering the cards for the X-Hand, but Leo discredits him, saying that the choice was a risky gamble. After, in a dark, secluded sewer, the mysterious lady is taken down by a black knight Finn saw before, with the lady asking the knight on whose side he's on. If you guys like what you saw, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you in the next video. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.